What if the most dangerous upgrade to your brain isn't strength, but awareness? What if a single shift in how you think could make you impossible to manipulate, or terrifyingly good at manipulating others? And what if once you see the game, you can never unsee it again? Stay with me, because this is not a motivation video. This is a warning. We live in the age of information, yet most minds are still operating on autopilot. People scroll, react, argue, fall in love, get offended, chase validation, make life-changing decisions without ever realizing why they feel what they feel. Psychologists call this emotional reactivity. Neuroscientists call it limbic dominance. Dark psychology calls it something else. An open system, waiting to be programmed. In every era, a small group has understood one brutal truth. Whoever controls perception controls behavior. And whoever controls behavior controls destiny. From ancient war strategists to modern political consultants, from cult leaders to elite negotiators, they all rely on one core ability: the power to step outside their own mind and observe it. That ability has a name: metacognition. The ability to think about your thinking, to watch your emotions instead of drowning in them, to analyze your reactions instead of being ruled by them. Most people never develop it consciously, and that's exactly why they are predictable. Imagine a chessboard. On one side are players who only see the piece in front of them. They move when they feel pressure. They react when attacked. They defend when threatened. On the other side are players who see the entire board. They don't just see moves, they see intent. They don't just hear words, they read motives. They don't just feel emotions, they study them like data. This is the difference between level 1 thinking and level 2 thinking. Level 1, I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm confident, so I act. Level 2, why did this trigger me? What belief is underneath this emotion? What will this reaction cost me 3 moves from now? This is where emotional intelligence stops being self-help and becomes strategic awareness. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Every manipulator, every master persuader, every psychological predator operates at level 2, while most people live at level 1. That is the imbalance. That is the silent battlefield. The first gate. Emotional labeling. The first layer of this brain hack is deceptively simple. Naming what you actually feel, not the surface emotion, the real one. Most people say, I'm angry, but anger is often a mask. Under it might be humiliation, fear, rejection, loss of control, unmet expectation. When you mislabel the emotion, you misfire the response. And when you misfire the response, you lose power. Metacognition steps in like a mental camera. Instead of saying, he disrespected me, I should attack back, you pause and think, why did that hit my ego? What belief just got threatened? That pause is everything. Because in that pause, the emotional brain hands control back to the strategic brain, the prefrontal cortex, the command center of decision, restraint, and long-term planning. This is why simply naming an emotion reduces its intensity. Not motivational, neurological. You're shifting from reaction to observation, from the storm to watching the storm. And once you can do that with yourself, you begin to see it in others. You notice when confidence is actually insecurity, when anger is fear of losing status, when silence is not calm, but calculation. This is the first opening of the inner eye. But here's the unsettling question. If you can read your own emotional code, what happens when someone else reads it better than you do? Because awareness is protection, but awareness in the wrong hands becomes a weapon. And in the next layer, you'll see how this same skill evolves from self-control into mind control. As you're listening, notice which part of this makes you uncomfortable. That reaction itself is information. Your mind is already beginning to watch itself. When awareness becomes a weapon, what if the same skill that helps you master your emotions is the exact skill predators use to hijack yours? Metacognition is neutral. Like fire, it can warm a home or burn it down. When awareness is guided by empathy, it creates leaders, healers, strategists. When it's driven by ego, insecurity, or hunger for control, it creates something else, a psychological predator. They don't raise their voice. They don't need threats. They don't need violence. They operate in silence, in timing, in tone, in micro-expressions, in pauses. They don't push the body. They pull the mind. And their greatest advantage? They see your emotional system from the outside, while you are trapped inside it. Emotional mapping. They study what makes you anxious, what makes you seek approval, what makes you feel small, what makes you feel special, what makes you afraid of losing connection. Every reaction becomes data. Every hesitation becomes a pressure point. Every insecurity becomes a lever. You think you're having a conversation. They're running experiments. They test. They observe. They adjust. They calibrate. Soon your nervous system learns. Approval equals safety. Disapproval equals threat. Their presence equals relief. Their silence equals danger. And the conditioning begins. Thought inception. True manipulation rarely gives commands. It plants conclusions. You should depend on me becomes, it's rare to find someone who really understands you. Your friends are bad for you becomes, funny how some people only show up when things are easy. Don't question me becomes, I just hope you trust me. Your mind completes the sentence. And because the thought feels self-generated, it bypasses resistance. That is, psychological inception. The brain defends its own conclusions far more fiercely than external orders. Silence as control. Calculated silence. After you speak, after you open up, after you seek reassurance, your nervous system panics. Did I say something wrong? Should I explain? Should I apologize? You overinvest. They remain still. Without a word, the power flips. They become the emotional gatekeeper. You become the emotional seeker. And whoever controls relief controls behavior. Programming the nervous system. Reward compliance. Withdraw on resistance. Warmth. Coldness. Closeness. Distance. Over time, you stop asking, what do I want? You start asking, what will keep them calm? What will keep them close? What will avoid that silence? This is not love. This is operant conditioning. The same system used in cults, in abusive dynamics, in behavioral labs. Your mind begins self-correcting before rebellion even forms. But here's the twist. If awareness can create monsters, it can also create something far more dangerous to them. Someone they cannot control. The unhackable mind. Third-person awareness. Not, I am angry, but he is experiencing anger. That linguistic shift activates the prefrontal cortex. It breaks emotional fusion. You are no longer inside the storm. You are above it. Pattern surveillance. Replay your day like security footage. Where did emotion spike? Who triggered it? What belief was touched? Patterns lose power when named. What is unconscious feels like fate. What is conscious becomes optional. Inner voice rewriting. That is a thought, not a command. Distance creates choice. Choice creates freedom. Dual awareness. One channel watches you. One channel watches the room. Status shifts. Hidden agendas. Control behind concern. Not paranoia. Clarity. You are no longer a coin being spent. You are reading the market. Pause. Label. Question. Choose. Reflect. Reactive becomes responsive. Programmable becomes sovereign. Predictable becomes invisible. And now the real question is no longer, can I be controlled? It becomes, what will I choose to do with this level of sight?